Adam taking fist up the arse. Can you please elaborate on?
It's already 18, mate. We've already gone from 15 to 18 unclassified. You know
You've had been knuckle deep up the sphincter.
Yeah, you got away with words. What he's trying to lead us into, I think, is I had my annual annual fist health check. The funny thing about that was, though, is that it wasn't just like a prostate exam, right? But I had, through Boop, I had like basically a full battery of health checks, blood work and all that stuff, fitness tests and stuff like that. But then you get a consultation with a GP to talk about anything that might be concerning you, any minor ailments or whatever. And we had that, and that didn't last long because I don't have any, there's nothing wrong with me. But he kind of said to me, he was like, so, Adam, do you want a prostate exam? Kind of out of nowhere. And I was like, well, I feel like I can't really say yes to that question, Doc, because then it implies that I just want you to put your hands in me. Do people normally say yes to that question? He's like, well, they don't normally think about it that deeply. And I was like, oh, well, is it, put it another way, is it kind of included? Do people normally get it? He's like, yeah, it's including the price. So if you want one, I was like, well, I might as well then, right? If I don't, then I'm not getting my money's worth. So yeah, then they assume, I've never had one before, right? But you have to like assume the fetal position facing away from the doctor. Then they'd lube you up a little bit naturally, which is polite of them. Then not to get too graphic, but they definitely used more than one finger. I could sense that, but I didn't think it was too bad. Like I know a couple of friends who've had prostate exams are like, oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It feels awful. But if anything, I came away from it thinking like, if I was ever put in prison, I'd probably be all right.
I imagine it'll be all right with you because I can only imagine some size of shits that you've had. Like,
he was like, yeah, it's all right. All right.
Mate, that's good news though. Like, fair play to you. I'll take my hat off. I'd be scared shitless getting a full medical thing. I'd just be like pure paranoid, like what's going to come back, Yeah,
well, you know me though. I know enough about. I get the thousands of troll comments. Oh man, you're gonna die at 40. But I believe it or not, I'm not an idiot, right? So I know enough about the human body to know that going into it, like I'm not saying that means I'm invincible. I just know that like if there's anything wrong with me, I'd probably already know. But apart from like, you can never know what your cholesterol profile is and whatnot. Yeah. So you get stuff like that checked, and it's cool that you get the ECG, check your heart, and they give you like a body fat analysis, and they go pretty. If they do like a fitness test at the end, which is the only thing I didn't really ace. Like I was just at the high end of average, and I thought I'd be
exceptional athlete.
I don't know if I thought. I didn't think that because I don't do a great deal of dedicated cardiovascular exercise in terms of for fitness, VO2 max and whatnot, lung capacity. Yeah, I walk a lot, but that's not really the same thing. But yeah, they do that. And the coolest thing to me, I thought, was that they, based on like all the tests they do, they give you what they assess as your daily calorie need. What they think you need to take in. And mine came back at like 2,942 or something, which is mad because I always talk about 3,000 calories a day. So that's how close.
That seems mad, for your size. Not to like that in a dig, but like because you're not big, are you? That seems like a lot of calories for your size.
No, but it's what little mass I do have in my body is predominantly muscle.
Right, we saw because you made me get that shot in of you swinging kettlebells.
George, I wanted to do it in my hoodie. Don't. I know he's paying your wages. Oh yeah, barely.
I'm going to do it in my hoodie, but you had a fucking stringer on. Yeah.
Well, you barely even use shots from that. But anyway,
he's doing extended out.
I'm more active as well. And believe it or not, like even if you walk for an hour a day, that's considerable. It's not loads of calories, but it's a couple hundred. So if you're walking briskly, so
well, I mean, like we said, I'm really happy that your physical exam came back all clear. It means that we can continue on this endeavour.
I'm not dying. Blood pressure's still good. Cholesterol profile's excellent.
He did proceed to tell this story on the Saturday of my 30th birthday when he came to the studio for a few drinks and a little gathering. So that was the first thing that came out of his mouth in a room full of 30 people.
Was it?
Yeah.
Break the ice, right?
So we had a little gathering in the studio for some close friends and family for my birthday, and Adam rocked up with a bottle of mead, didn't you?
Yeah, because you said you liked the mead. I paid for next day delivery to get it in time for you.
And then you drank it all?
No, you drank it all. I was drinking I didn't bring any beers. I felt bad. I was drinking the communal beers.
Oh, you were that guy?
Yeah.
That's all right. Did you give the mead to my dad? Because my dad were like...
No, he was drunk when I got here, mate.
Rotten, mate.
The funniest thing was we played was it Danielle that got the cups?
Yes, the beer pong.
Your better half, right? We
Yeah.
play beer pong. For people that have played beer pong, you normally get those red plastic pint glasses, and we were playing it with like tiny glasses smaller than these. So it was like a marathon beer pong game, right? Because nobody could get it in. But your dad, despite being the drunkest person there, scored them. Like he got 3, I think I got 2, and you got 1, right?
Yeah.
So we ended up winning. But it did like people at first were crowded around like, oh, this is good, and they lost interest like 45 minutes in. We should really have had a halftime break to rehydrate or something, a few oranges, but. It was a good time.
It was a good do, mate. I think, my dad got absolutely rotten, which caused massive fallout in the Gudgeon family. But I just left them to fall out between each other and just moved them away. The funniest part about the night was right. So this is an observation for any of you out there. If you've got a group of mates, in the group of mates, there's always that one dickhead. And if you're thinking who's that dickhead, you're the dickhead. But in our group of mates, there's my mate Alex.
Oh right,
who's a dickhead. And I saw you and Alex talking. I'm like, oh shit, like this could have did tears. But then you got on and I realised.
Which one was Alex?
The one that you were talking politics with. Ginger hair.
Oh yeah, he was trying to get himself an invitation to be on the podcast. I'm thinking, no,
it gets all cancelled. But you and him got on quite well, and then I realised that you're the dickhead as well. That you're in your circle. So the 2 dickheads came together and got on. I thought it was going to be a fallout. I thought we'd have to like separate you, and you got on. I'm like, oh, it actually makes sense.
Come on now. I was fully aware of my surroundings. People I didn't know. I thought I did quite well. I'm pretty bad at socialising generally, but I thought I did all right.
You did good, mate.
To say I didn't have Mrs. Beard until.
And you got pretty merry as well, didn't you? Because you even put on your Instagram singing jolly tunes on your way home. You don't remember doing that?
I don't know, but luckily Mrs. Beard picked me up. Yeah. Because I was pretty drunk, but
it's a party.
That was Christmas. The idea, wasn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. I see you spent all of that YouTube money of 2022. Could have had anything. Could have been a McLaren. Probably not a Bugatti.
Steady.
Definitely could have been a McLaren. Big Rangy. A couple of motorbikes.
Motorbikes.
A spaceship. But instead, you bought fucking Mr. Bean's car. What is that thing?
I was, you know what, the most gratifying part, or the second most gratifying part about buying that was your reaction to it, because I knew it would irritate you, because he's like a big petrol head, right? He loves cars and like flash stuff, whereas I'm like anti-flash. So I bought this, you have to put a picture of the car up on screen, but if you follow me on Instagram, you would probably have seen it. But I bought this thing called a Nissan Figaro, right? He's like, you have that the devil and angel on your shoulder thing. So he's like the devil, because he'd be like, yeah, you've had a good year, treat yourself, get yourself like a Porsche or like something super flash.
It kind of just said Adam also was like, I might get a Porsche. No. I keep looking at these Porsches.
Yeah, because I thought I've never really had like what is considered a nice car in life. And I thought like, obviously I've got a Tesla, but that's for work purposes, right? So I think I need a personal car, right? Because I'm sick of driving Lindsay's if I need to go to like somewhere that's too far. So I walk a lot of places, but if it's like 10 miles, I'm not going to walk, right? But anyway, long story short, I thought maybe I'll buy myself something. I never buy myself anything, apart from you giving me grief for buying like an All Saints jacket or something last week.
Your All Saints hoodie.
The week before or whatever. So it kind of crept up. I thought, yeah, maybe I'll get myself a nice car, like a Porsche or something like that. But then I had this kind of epiphany as I was on like Auto Trader looking. And I thought, you're not that guy. Don't be a dick. Just get a car that's you. And then I was lucky enough to come across this thing called a Nissan Figaro. George, you'll have to overlay it on screen because a lot of people won't know what it is. It was made in 1991 and 1991 alone in Japan. So they're like imports, but they're designed to look like a car from like the 50s. And I love stuff like that. I love old cars, even if they look shit by, modern cars to me just look, they're not fun to look at, So I saw this, because they're so pretty rare, they're not particularly, I guess, nice to look at for most people. But because they're rare, it's hard to find them in good condition, right? In good nick, still work in order. But I found this one and it was like 12,000 quid, right? But that's for like, you see them like that for a lot and a lot more sometimes. So I saw it and I thought, I don't need to get that on HP, right? I can just go and just buy it. So we went to this place, I think it was in like Mansfield. Like for whatever, 50, 60 miles away. So went down to look at it and it was like a bit rickety when it started and I was like, this is weird, But I thought, I'll buy it. So I just bought it and I'm glad I bought it, it's fun to drive and I mean, it's terrible to drive, but like therein lies the fun, I think.
So is it just like on your drive? Like what?
Is it parked at the end of the drive?
Is it just is it like a proper classic car then? Like
No, it was made, I suppose it is now because it was made in 1991, right?
Yeah.
But obviously that doesn't look like a car from the 90s, does it? It looks like, so when they made it, the spec I think was to make a car that at the time in 1991 was reasonably modern, but that looked like an older car, right?
So is it built just to look like a 50s car, but it's not got the sort of
I think it's basically
makeup of one?
from all the car nuts that were getting mad at me in the comments, like, it's fucking shit, that, man. Some guy says to me, he's like, yeah, bro, it's just a Nissan Micra. I'm like, it could be a fucking washing machine for all I care, mate. I bought it for the way it looks on the outside. I'm not a boy racer or anything. But yeah, it's basically, I think, like a 1 litre Nissan Micra with a nicer body. And on the inside, it's got like the bus driver style wheel. And
it reminds me of like on the In-Betweeners, where they get that one car between them. They're like, bus wankers. That's what it's like a bus.
If you're into kind of retro looking stuff like me, like my dream car, like if I could have any car, would be like, there's probably in fact, I wanted to buy, but it was like too expensive, right? I wanted to buy this thing called a Morgan Aero. Don't know if you've ever heard of those.
Morgans are quite a unique looking
one
cars.
that looks cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Cross-eyed?
Lots of boz-eyed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Morgan Aero.
Yeah. So it's like, but Morgan is like
Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah. So they make cars that look like old British. They were like an old British race car company, right? But they now make cars which are basically like a BMW Z4 or something, but the outside looks like a classic car, right? But they're like $100,000, and I've never spent that in a car in a million years.
That does look pretty sick, though. A Morgan, one of 8 Morgan Aero GTs. That looks nice, that.
Yeah, it does, but you know where I live without giving it away. That's going to last 3 hours where I live at most before it gets keyed or nicked or something. So anyway, I bought that, and I thought, when I bought it, I thought, I had instant buyer's remorse, but the more I've driven it now, I'm like, it's all right, it's fun to drive in. It's the kind of thing that people are going to see on the street and point and laugh at, and that's what I'm going for. I don't want people to be like, oh, look at that, look at his fucking Bugatti or whatever. You're a dick if you drive those. I'm just going to say it.